So you owe student loans, but they're so old they dropped off your credit report. Does that mean that you're home free? Let's back up a minute. Credit reporting and legal liability are two completely different things. You can be legally liable for a debt that's not on your credit report. For example, if you borrow money from your friend, you have to pay it back, but your friend probably isn't reporting the debt to the credit bureaus. I've talked to people who spent years not opening mail, not answering phone calls that they didn't recognize, because they thought, it's off my credit report, I must be good. Then a wage garnishment notice shows up, or their tax refund disappears, or they get served with a lawsuit, and that's when they panic. Let's talk about federal student loans first, because those are the ones where people get blindsided. Federal student loans have no statute of limitations, none. That goes for direct loans, Parent Plus loans, Grad Plus loans, FFEL loans, Perkins loans, HEAL loans, you name it. That means that the government can come after you in year 5, in year 15, in year 30. It doesn't matter if it's off your credit report or not. That debt is alive as long as you are. But private student loans, those are another story completely. Private student loans do have a statute of limitations. And depending on your state, that's typically going to be somewhere between 3 years and 10 years from the date of default. Once that window closes, the lender cannot sue you to collect. And private lenders can't do anything to force you to pay them without a lawsuit and a judgment against you. But debts do show up on your credit report for 7 years from the date of last activity. So if you're in, let's say, North Carolina, where there's a 3-year statute of limitations, your loan is going to show up on your credit report even though it's not legally enforceable anymore, because 7 years for credit reporting, but only 3 years for enforceability. In Illinois, however, there's a 10-year statute of limitations. Your loans are going to remain legally enforceable for 3 full years after they fall off your credit report. By the way, just because they can't sue you doesn't mean that they disappear. A private lender can still contact you and ask you for money. They just can't drag you into court and force you to pay. And depending on your state law, you can restart that clock under certain circumstances. So if an old private loan collector calls out of the blue, don't say a word before you talk to a lawyer. So what should you do? If you have old federal loans, go to studentaid.gov and check on the status. Contact the servicer or the collector that's handling the account and get back into good standing. If you have old private loans that you haven't heard from in years, don't poke the bear. Don't make a payment. Don't confirm that you owe the debt, and talk to a lawyer in your state who can confirm whether you're in the clear. If you've got any questions about your federal student loans, your private student loans, or any other debt whatsoever, as always, get in touch. You know where to find me.